In this session, we're shifting our focus to a contrasting yet equally valuable leadership style that thrives on order, consistency, and measurable results. And that leadership style is known as transactional leadership. Now, transactional leadership operates on the principle of exchange. So leaders will set clear objectives, and team members are rewarded or corrected based on their performance in meeting those objectives. It's a style that's often associated with stability, efficiency, and maintaining established processes, making it especially effective in environments where tasks are routine, deadlines are tight, or precision is critical. In this session, we'll start by exploring the core focus of transactional leadership on structure and rewards, examining how clear processes, well-defined roles, and performance-based incentives drive results. We'll then discuss the strengths and limitations of transactional leadership, understanding where this style excels and where it might fall short. And finally, we'll explore the best use scenarios for transactional leadership, identifying solutions and environments where this approach is most effective. To begin with, let's take a closer look at the structured, results-driven nature of transactional leadership. Now, at its core, this leadership style is built on clear expectations, predefined processes, and a system of rewards and consequences. Transactional leaders focus on establishing well-defined roles and ensuring that their team members adhere to specific procedures, which creates an environment where efficiency, consistency, and accountability take priority. One of the defining aspects of transactional leadership is its emphasis on structure. Leaders in this style provide detailed guidelines and clear instructions on how tasks should be completed, leaving little room for ambiguity. In a manufacturing setting, for example, a transactional leader would ensure that every step of the production line follows strict quality control protocols, with checkpoints at each stage to maintain efficiency and compliance with industry standards. Similarly, in a customer service-driven department, employees might be given specific scripts and response guidelines to ensure consistent messaging and adherence to company policies. Another key element of transactional leadership is its focus on performance-based rewards and consequences. Employees know exactly what is expected of them and what they will receive in return for meeting those expectations. So incentives such as bonuses, promotions, or public recognition are commonly used to motivate high performers, while underperformance may lead to things like warnings, additional training, or other corrective actions. The relationship between leader and team member is primarily contractual, so both parties understand the exchange. Work that meets expectations is rewarded, while failure to meet standards results in consequences. Now, this structured approach creates a sense of predictability and fairness in the workplace. Because expectations are clearly communicated from the outset, employees don't have to guess what success looks like. There's less anxiety and uncertainty because performance standards are objective and measurable. When everyone operates under the same guidelines, the workplace feels more transparent, and team members can focus on delivering results without the distraction of unclear expectations or shifting priorities. Transactional leaders are highly engaged in performance monitoring, using metrics, progress tracking, and structured check-ins to assess efficiency and ensure that tasks are completed as expected. For instance, a sales team leader might establish monthly sales targets for each employee and then conduct weekly progress meetings to evaluate performance, identify potential challenges, and reinforce goals. Regular feedback loops help employees stay on track and allow for course corrections when necessary, ensuring that performance stays aligned with the organizational objectives. However, it's important to clarify that transactional leadership is not simply about micromanagement. Now, while this approach does involve close supervision and performance oversight, its primary goal is to provide structure, set expectations, and hold people accountable in a consistent and transparent manner. Employees are given clear guidelines and the resources they need to succeed, while the leaders ensure that the standards are met without unnecessary interference. Now, this leadership style is particularly well suited for environments where processes are standardized, where tasks are repetitive, and where performance can be objectively measured. So industries such as manufacturing, finance, logistics, and call centers will thrive under transactional leadership because precision, compliance, and consistency are critical to success. When efficiency and reliability matter more than creativity or flexibility, transactional leadership provides the structure needed to keep teams operating smoothly. By focusing on clarity, structure, and well-defined reward systems, transactional leadership creates a stable work environment where employees understand their roles and responsibilities. The performance expectations are clear to them, and accountability is enforced in a fair and systematic way. Now, while it may not be the ideal approach for every leadership scenario, its effectiveness in process-driven industries, high-stakes operations, and goal-oriented environments makes it a valuable leadership tool when applied in the right context. Now that we understand the core focus of transactional leadership, let's take a closer look at its strengths and limitations. Every leadership style comes with advantages and trade-offs, and transactional leadership is no exception. While it is highly effective in certain environments, it also has drawbacks that can limit its effectiveness in others. One of the greatest strengths of transactional leadership is its efficiency and clarity. When goals, roles, and expectations are explicitly defined, there is minimal room for confusion. Employees know exactly what is expected of them, how to perform their tasks, and what results they need to achieve. Now, this level of clarity reduces uncertainty. It ensures smoother workflows and minimizes misunderstandings that can lead to delays or inefficiencies. For example, imagine a large-scale construction project where strict safety protocols must be followed. A transactional leader ensures that every worker knows their specific role, the procedures they must adhere to, and the consequences of not following safety regulations. Now, this structured approach reduces risk, enhances accountability, and ensures compliance, making it ideal for environments where precision and consistency are critical. Another key strength of transactional leadership is its ability to drive short-term results and meet deadlines. In situations where time is limited, projects have strict timelines, or tasks are highly procedural, transactional leadership provides the discipline, focus, and structure needed to stay on track. For instance, during a product launch with multiple moving parts, every department from marketing to production to logistics must complete its responsibilities within a set time frame. Transactional leadership ensures that each team member knows their specific deliverables, follows the schedule, and meets their targets efficiently. By keeping teams focused on execution rather than experimentation, this leadership style is well suited for time-sensitive projects that demand predictability and discipline. Beyond efficiency, fairness and consistency are also strong points of transactional leadership. Because performance-based rewards and consequences are applied systematically, employees perceive the system as clear and objective. There's no ambiguity about how success is measured, which reduces bias and favoritism in the workplace. Now, this level of transparency fosters trust, as employees know that outcomes are based on performance rather than personal preference. For example, in a sales environment, if bonuses are awarded strictly based on meeting sales targets, employees feel a sense of fairness and motivation to achieve their goals. When reward systems are clearly defined and consistently enforced, they reduce uncertainty. It would then promote healthy competition and create a work culture built on accountability and measurable success. However, despite these strengths, transactional leadership also has limitations, especially in environments that require flexibility, creativity, and emotional engagement. One of the most significant weaknesses is that it can stifle innovation and creativity. Because this leadership style places a heavy emphasis on following established rules, processes, and procedures, it often discourages employees from thinking outside the box or challenging the status quo. Employees who thrive in autonomous, innovative work environments may feel restricted, leading to frustration and disengagement. For instance, in industries such as technology, marketing, or research and development, where breakthrough ideas and experimentation drive success, a transactional approach may hinder progress. If employees are only focused on meeting set goals rather than exploring new solutions, the company risks falling behind its competitors who embrace more adaptive and visionary leadership styles. Another key challenge of transactional leadership is that it can feel impersonal or overly rigid. Because it prioritizes tasks, it will prioritize performance metrics and reward systems. It sometimes overlooks the human aspect of leadership, such as team morale, employee engagement, and workplace culture. Over time, this can lead to demotivation, reduced job satisfaction, and a disconnect between leaders and their teams. For example, if an employee is consistently meeting targets but struggling with workplace stress, a transactional leader may focus solely on their performance outcomes without addressing their well-being. Now, this lack of emotional connection can make employees feel like cogs in a machine rather than valued members of the organization. Leaders who fail to balance structure with empathy may experience higher turnover rates and lower employee satisfaction. Additionally, transactional leadership is less effective in dynamic or uncertain environments. Because this style relies heavily on structure, predictability, and established procedures, it may struggle to adapt to unexpected changes, crisis, or evolving business landscapes. For instance, during the COVID-19 pandemic, many organizations had to quickly shift to remote working, new technologies, and evolving business models. Leaders who relied solely on transactional methods found it difficult to navigate the uncertainty, as their approach was too rigid to accommodate the need for rapid innovation and flexibility. Now, in contrast, transformational or adaptive leaders were better equipped to adjust strategies, support their teams, and foster resilience in uncertain times. And lastly, one of the most overlooked weaknesses of transactional leadership is that it makes employee motivation overly dependent on external rewards. Now, while bonuses, promotions, and recognition are powerful motivators, they only go so far. If employees are only driven by rewards or fear of consequences, their intrinsic motivation, the internal drive to perform well because they find the work meaningful, may weaken over time. Research in psychology and workplace motivation suggests that long-term engagement and job satisfaction come from autonomy, mastery, and purpose, rather than just external incentives. As Daniel Pink explores in his book Drive, The Surprising Truth About What Motivates Us, relying too much on external rewards can actually diminish creativity, reduce problem-solving ability, and lead to a transactional mindset where employees do the bare minimum required to earn a reward. For example, if a company's only motivation strategy is financial incentives, employees may focus purely on achieving targets rather than improving their skills, collaborating with colleagues, or contributing to the company's long-term success. Now, this approach risks creating a culture where people work for the paycheck rather than for passion or purpose. To summarize, transactional leadership is highly effective in structured, goal-oriented environments offering efficiency, fairness, and accountability. However, it lacks flexibility, it limits creativity, and it can feel impersonal, making it less suitable for roles that require innovation, emotional connection, or adaptability. Now that we've examined the strengths and limitations of transactional leadership, Let's explore the specific scenarios where this approach is most effective. While no leadership style is one size fits all, transactional leadership excels in environments that demand structure, routine, and clearly measurable outcomes. When applied in the right context, it ensures efficiency, maintains high standards, and drives performance with precision. One of the primary areas where transactional leadership thrives is in highly regulated industries, so sectors where compliance, safety, and standardization are non-negotiable. In industries like manufacturing, finance, healthcare, and construction, the margin for error is extremely low. Employees must adhere to strict protocols, follow established guidelines, and meet predefined quality or safety standards. For instance, in a manufacturing plant, a transactional leadership approach ensures that every step of the production process follows strict safety protocols and efficiency benchmarks. Employees must comply with regulations, standardized procedures, and performance expectations, making transactional leadership an ideal framework for maintaining quality control and operational consistency. Similarly, in healthcare settings, professionals such as surgeons, nurses, and emergency responders operate in high-pressure environments where strict protocols save lives. A transactional leadership style helps enforce adherence to medical procedures, patient safety protocols, and hospital regulations, ensuring that every team member performs their duties with precision and accountability. Beyond regulated industries, transactional leadership is also highly effective in short-term projects with tight deadlines and clearly defined objectives. When a team is under pressure to execute a complex task within a specific time frame, such as a product launch or a corporate event or system implementation, having clear expectations, having structured workflows, and performance-based accountability is critical for success. Another setting where transactional leadership proves invaluable is in roles that involve routine and repetitive tasks. In industries such as customer service call centers, assembly lines, and logistics operations, the focus is on efficiency, standardization, and high volume output. For example, in a logistics company managing thousands of package deliveries daily, a transactional leadership approach ensures that each worker follows strict delivery procedures. Performance metrics such as delivery speed and accuracy are closely tracked, and that employees are rewarded for efficiency and held accountable for their mistakes. In these settings, predictability, consistency, and adherence to processes matter far more than creativity or autonomy. Employees perform their best when clear performance expectations are set and reinforced through structured incentives. Transactional leadership also proves effective in crisis situations and emergency management, where swift decision-making, clear instructions, and strict adherence to protocols are required. In high-stress environments such as military operations, emergency response teams, or disaster relief efforts, leaders cannot afford ambiguity or delays. Imagine a fire department responding to a large-scale emergency. Every firefighter has a specific role to play. They follow specific predefined protocols and must execute their responsibilities with precision. In this scenario, clear, direct orders will minimize chaos and confusion, which I'm sure we can all agree is very much appreciated in the event of a large-scale emergency. Unlike transformational leadership, which encourages open discussion and creative problem solving, transactional leadership is far more directive and action-oriented, making it the ideal approach in situations where immediate, decisive action is required. However, while transactional leadership is highly effective in these scenarios, it should not be applied universally. Effective leaders recognize that different situations demand different approaches. While transactional leadership works in well-structured, performance-driven environments, it may be too rigid for teams that require innovation, adaptability, or strategic thinking. For this reason, the best leaders blend transactional and transformational elements, adjusting their leadership style to fit the needs of their team, the nature of the work, and the overall business goals. In some cases, a structured approach may be necessary to maintain consistency, while in others, a more visionary, people-focused approach may be needed to drive long-term success. Okay, so in today's session, we explored the core focus of transactional leadership, emphasizing its reliance on clear goals, performance-based rewards, and accountability. We then examined its strengths, recognizing its ability to create clarity, maintain efficiency, and ensure compliance. And we also discussed its limitations, acknowledging that it can sometimes stifle creativity, feel impersonal, or struggle in times of change. And finally, we looked at the best use scenarios for transactional leadership, identifying regulated industries, short-term projects, routine task environments, and crisis situations as areas where this leadership style delivers the best results. Transactional leadership, when applied strategically, is an invaluable tool for maintaining order, driving efficiency, and ensuring operational success. However, it's most effective when balanced with other leadership approaches, allowing leaders to blend structure with inspiration, compliance with creativity, and short-term execution with long-term vision. In the next video, we'll shift our focus to a different kind of leadership known as servant leadership. We'll discuss what it means to lead through service and support, explore real-world case studies of servant leaders, and examine the strengths and challenges of this approach. For now, take a moment to once again reflect on your own leadership approach. Are there areas in your role where a more transactional approach could create greater clarity, consistency, or accountability? On the other hand, are there situations where you may need to introduce more flexibility and innovation in your role? Write down one specific action you can take this week to better balance structure with inspiration in your leadership approach. I'll see you in the next video.